It's now time for CAPI, the Real Paranormal Podcast, with host Johnny Rushing, the founder and lead investigator of Central Alabama Paranormal Investigations. We now take you to the studio for today's show. Here is Johnny Rushing.
And welcome aboard. We've got here John for another show for CAPI, the Real Paranormal. Let me get that right. He looks at me weird every time I say it wrong because he came up with it and it just scares him. It scares me too. So, because he's a big guy, y'all don't know.
I am
Can't tell from
quite intimidating.
Very intimidating. Very, very intimidating. See, people are going to think we're just joking, but that's not true. It's real. We're also joined by another awesome person on the team, which is our case manager, and her name is
Beth.
There she is. Hey, Beth. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How are you guys?
Oh, wonderful. Now that we get to speak with you.
Yes. Hello, my beautiful Beth.
Yes. And
hey, darling.
And you know something, John? If Beth is around, guess who else is around? Tom. Our equipment
DG,
manager.
right.
He's always there too. What's up, Tom?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Hey,
I'm doing
Tom.
very, very well. It's been an awesome,
Good to be with
awesome
you
kind of
guys
day.
again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've been, John and I have been in Selma all day, just kind of touring the sites and stomping the pavement and talking to businesses and having a
The
really good
beautiful
time.
town.
Yes,
That's
awesome.
next on our list.
Yes,
That's
we
next
got to
on
get
our
you guys
list.
here
We're talking
really
about it.
fast.
We want to go check out the historic cemetery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Live Oak Cemetery or something like that.
Yeah, new and
Yeah,
old.
we've
Yeah,
already
new
got-
live oak and old
That's-
live oak.
The
Yeah.
pictures are beautiful.
Yes, they are.
We've got a piqued interest in that already.
Definitely. We're going to get you guys over here really fast and get you here in the studio too, so you can join us.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
that's a lot
Sounds
about
good.
what we wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to do some ghost stories and wanted to get a little spooky tonight. Is that okay with you, John?
Let's get spooky.
Did you bring your nightlight?
I don't need a nightlight.
Okay.
I've got a 45.
Oh, cool. We're all good then. But we are super excited to be back here in Selma and doing the show. And this has been a roller coaster ride, and we're still not ready to get off. We've decided to donate all of our tickets to just this one. We're not walking the park here, John.
No,
We're not going to cruise around the park on this one, buddy.
definitely
We're
not.
staying here. We came to the roller coaster. We like the roller coaster. We're going to continue on the roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Are you okay with that?
As long as they don't kick us off.
I saw you looking at the merry-go-round in the carousel. Are you okay not doing that?
I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
All right. I think we should stay right here where we're at because we love Selma so much. You know what? CAPI did start here. And you know what I did last week? I goofed. I really did. I made the comment that CAPI started either in 2014 or 2015. I do not know where that came from.
I don't either.
My co-founder and son pointed out to me. He said, Dad, we started CAPI in 2005.
That was the year I was married.
That was 10 years before what I said we was. So that's pretty bad that I made that faux pas. So I want to come on and say, hey, Johnny looks perfect, but he's not. He's really not. Don't look at me like that, John. Do not look at me like that. I will give you one of these. But anyway, yeah, we started CAPI in 2005 right here in the beautiful town of historic Selma. And I think that's a good place to start a paranormal team because there's so much paranormal here in Selma, and some of the places that we've gone to and the places that we can talk about, we will, and the places we can't talk about, we'll just hint.
Well, I mean, there's
Can
a
we do
lot of spiritual activity there. Lots and lots of spirits.
Yes. John's not from here originally,
Oh, no.
like I am, but he loves the area, and he's had
Oh,
a
man.
blast today going around and looking at the different sites, haven't you?
Oh, it's incredible. Some of these beautiful houses.
Took you to Old Town?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the places you saw over there? Do you remember?
Oh, man. Where you were talking about where they relocated a bunch of the houses from Wetumpka?
No, from Cahaba.
Well, from Cahaba.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
From Cahaba. Not Wetumpka. That's another.
back
That's
in the
another day.
Yeah. And you sell Sturdivant too.
Sturdivant, man.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful?
Man, I
Beautiful
want to get in
place.
there
We've
so
investigated
bad.
there. We did get evidence from there. We listed that as haunted, as
Mm-hmm.
active many years ago. Took him by Brownstone Manor.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about Brownstone.
Yeah, Brownstone's pretty cool. Yeah, and we went by the old Henderson House.
Mm-hmm.
I let him know that the Henderson House, about 150 years ago when I was a kid, it really has been that long. If you don't believe me, just take a look. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
I thought so. But I didn't get a chance to take John out to Cahaba, though. I wanted to take him out to Cahaba.
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
we're going to have to do that next week.
Oh, man.
I have to go out to Cahaba
Yeah,
and show him.
I really want to see that as well.
We wanted to get a lot of the stuff that used to be pretty active here in Selma, and the paranormal started back up again.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be working on a lot of projects. So you guys continue to listen to us here on 101.5 Kicks Country, because a lot of those events that we're going to be working on getting going are going to be announced right here.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where they need to listen. Where do they need to listen, John?
Kicks 101.5 FM.
That's right. That's right. But John and I today, like I said earlier, we're pounding pavement and talking to people and meeting people, and we got to meet some pretty awesome people and some pretty interesting people.
Oh, yeah. Very spirited.
Very spirited. And one of those people that we met today asked us a question that what is the scariest thing, or what was the strangest thing they ever encountered? So I want to kind of throw that to the group. I want to throw that out there so we could start this off with a good ghost story. And who better than the person that is sitting right across from me, Big John Bowen? Can you start that out for us? Can you start out what's the strangest thing that's happened to you? Not necessarily since you've been on CAPI, but since you've been in the paranormal. What is the strangest thing that's coming up? And guys, be thinking, because I'm coming to you next.
Well, the strangest thing that ever happened to me, I was on my way home from work, and me and my sister have a thing where we would take pictures of random objects. We're all workaholics in my family, and so we decided, hey, we need to celebrate just, the creation that God's given us. So, we'll take pictures of clouds or something like that. Well, there was a cloud formation, and I took a picture of it. Well, when I take a picture, I don't just take one, I take 4 or 5. Just so in case something changes, I get the best shot.
Right.
Well, I got a picture of a strange light coming from the tree line. Well above the tree line, but you could see it was just this bright flash, and I had no idea what it was. And I mean, the sun was setting behind me, so I was like, well, maybe it's a balloon or something, or an aircraft. Looked close, I couldn't tell what it was. Even sent it to a local meteorologist that I've met before, and he had no clue. He actually put it on his Twitter, and no one could figure it out. So yeah, that was pretty strange as far as experiences that I've had.
Wow. Well, a paranormal show that talks about more than just ghosts. Absolutely, and that's what I want to do. Is I want to talk about everything paranormal, whether it be ufology, ghosts, spirits, or
Sasquatch,
Bigfoot. Yeah. Well, I know Sasquatch a little more than you. We're kind of like I can call him Bigfoot. I've gotten permission.
Oh, okay.
I can call him Bigfoot. He likes me.
Well, I mean,
I did ask him if you could call him Bigfoot, but he said you were too intimidating.
Right.
That's how big you are. You actually intimidate Bigfoot. Or Sasquatch to you.
Yes, Mr. Sasquatch is what he told me. Yeah.
That's right.
Mr. Squatch.
He doesn't like that, by the way. He told me.
Oh, oops.
Beth, your turn. What is something that's weird or strange, or the strangest thing that's happened to you in the paranormal?
The strangest thing that happened to me was when I, probably about 20 years ago, I am doing laundry, and I walk into my son's room, no window, and I see a white mist. And it just, I froze for a minute. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And I went on and put clothes up and left it. I mean, it didn't, but it was very weird that I was to see the white mist. Another thing that was pretty strange to me was a story that my mother told me about her mom, how she she thought she was asleep, and she saw her mother who had just passed, and she was talking to her and asking her questions, and her mother was answering them. And then she woke up, she thought, until my brother, who was sleeping in the same room with her at the time, goes, well, hey, Big Mama. Hey, Big Mama. He saw her too. And that just, when Mom told me that story, it was pretty wild.
Wow. That's pretty cool, because that right there says it was intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about Tom?
Well, two actually, I guess, about the same as her. The first one happened years ago when I was small. I was 12, 13 years old, and I had a grandmother who was in a nursing home. She had been, bad for a while, and she was in a nursing home. And my mother had a lady that helped out. My mother had been paralyzed in an accident and was just getting over that. And she had a lady that helped out at home, would come a couple of days a week and help her out. And she had this dream where she looked up and she saw my grandmother standing in the doorway that led between the bedrooms, my bedroom and my mother's bedroom. And so she was telling this woman about it. The woman was an older woman. She was telling the woman about it. And the woman asked her, said, how many times did you see her? And my mother told her, said, well, twice. I saw her 2 different times. I woke up 2 different times and she was there. And the woman told her, so well, she'll pass in 2 days. And 2 days later, my grandmother passed away. And so that was kind of weird.
That
was out there. And then the other creepy, or not creepy, but strange thing that happened actually happened with the team on about my 5th or 6th investigation. I guess I could say in Montgomery, not where, but in Montgomery. And the temperature change, where I stepped into the area and you checked the temperature in and outside of that circle, and there was like 20 degrees difference. That was probably the other weird one.
Ooh,
it's like 85 in one area and 65 where I'm standing, and there's no air vents around, no air conditioner running. That was pretty wild.
And we call those code spots.
I thought of another one.
Okay,
do I?
Please.
Well, it had to do with the cat balls.
I think you should.
Dear word.
I think you should explain what a cat ball is.
Yeah, that would probably help.
Yeah, please.
Cat balls are lighted cat toys that cats play with, and when they roll, they light up.
Right.
And we started using
motion,
them in the very
right?
first. Yes, their motion.
Right.
They're very sensitive. Very.
And the very first time we used them, our client had a conversation with her son who had passed on using the cat balls.
Right.
They would light up when she'd ask questions.
And it was a beautiful moment. It truly was.
It really
one
was.
of the best I've had with CAPI. One of the best experiences I've had with CAPI. It was very cool.
Absolutely.
That goes back with what we've said before about giving some peace where we can, when we can.
Yes.
Giving answers.
Yes.
Because contrary to popular belief, we're not out here just to get evidence, right?
No.
We're not out here just to prove or disprove something. We're not out here just to wear cool shirts and say that we're Ghostbusters, which we never do, by the way.
No.
Before anything else, we're here to help people. And whether it's helping them with a past loved one, like that situation, or if it's helping them, and Beth can attest to this because she talks to pretty much every client that we have before we even meet them. The number one thing they want to do is they want people to know that they're not crazy, because they've told their friends and their family members, sometimes people that live in the house with them that do not experience anything, which is not uncommon.
Sometimes people of their church.
Right. And all these people have told them, oh, you're crazy, or you're seeing things, or you may need to talk to someone.
Well, that's the very first thing they say to me.
Right.
They say, you're going to think I'm crazy. But,
Exactly. Because they've been told that so much. And when we come in and provide that evidence for them, then they're able to present that evidence and say, see, told you, I'm not nuts.
right.
Though sometimes you do get both.
And a lot of times that's what they need most is that clarification.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Or we can go in and do the investigation and find a natural cause for it.
Oh, yeah.
And they still know they're not crazy, but now they are more comfortable because they know that there isn't a spirit in their house. They just have a bad EVP or something, or an EMF or something like that. I guess the strangest thing for me, we did the Kenning's Mill, investigated it. And the cool thing about that investigation was we had the place for the weekend. We didn't have to, go investigate, leave, do the case study, and come back and present. We were able to do everything right there that whole weekend. So we did the investigation, had a few things that happened that was really cool. Like we had an EVP of a little boy laughing when one of the investigators fell on her butt on the bridge that walks across the waterfall. We were able to determine we had a 9-year-old boy there through some flashlight and K2 studies. But the coolest thing, I think, and the strangest thing that happened that night was after we were done, we decided it was time to wrap it up. And we said, why don't we just stay here and do the case study here? Because we've got the run of the place. We didn't have to go anywhere or anything like that. We could just, be right there. And so I needed some equipment out of my truck. And so I leave the main building there, and I was parked out back. And I go out to my truck, and there was a coax cable there that I needed to get to hook up a piece of equipment to another piece of equipment so we could transfer files. And so I went out to my truck. Before we started the investigation, the curator there, the caretakers, told us that they had some hunters down under the hill, and that a lot of times the hunters would come up to the well and get water for their campsite. And so we were privy to that, okay, there may be some hunters up here. If we see somebody, don't freak out or anything. They're supposed to be here. So as I'm going out to my truck to get this piece of equipment that I needed to get, I had opened the truck, and at the time I had a 3-door truck, and so I had both the driver's side door and the door behind that open. And the box that had the piece of equipment in it was directly behind my seat, the driver's seat. So I was kind of like backwards, trying to get over another piece of equipment to that box. And I pull out the wiring that I needed. And as I step out, there was an older gentleman, rather large older gentleman, standing next to where they were building some bathrooms. And he was just standing there looking at me, and like he was going to go over to where the water was, to the pump was, where you could pump up water from the well. And I didn't think anything of it. Okay, there's one of the hunters doing what they're supposed to do. And so as I get out of the truck and I'm closing the box up and everything and closing the doors and I'm starting to walk off, I realized, that little voice in the back of your head, John, that comes and tells you when something's wrong or not right. It finally started speaking up to me, and it said that this guy was looking at me with a really bad look. He was mean mugging me like crazy. I mean, and was all stiffened up and just like
a threat.
Yeah, big time. Like he wanted to come over here and just rip my head off. And he was an older gentleman, probably 70s, 80s, but he was a big older gentleman, a really big older gentleman. So he was like he could do it, So I'm like, oh boy,
country strong.
What is this guy's problem, And so I'm thinking maybe he doesn't know I'm supposed to be here. They did tell us that there was hunters there, but maybe they didn't tell the hunters that we were there. And so maybe they're like, we're going to protect our friend's property kind of thing, So I just said, hey guys, it's everything's cool. I'm supposed to be here. I have permission to be here. Everything's good. Have a good night. And I start to go in the house, and I look at him, and I notice that he's still mean mugging me even more now. And he's just grimacing at me like he wants to just throw down. And so I'm like, okay, I'm getting in the house. I'm getting back here where there's people at,
Yeah.
But then the man popped up inside me. That guy that pops up and tells you to do stuff that you really shouldn't do.
Your ego.
Yeah, that guy. He pops up and he says, no, wait a minute. I'm not taking this. What's this guy's deal? So I turn around and I said, you know what? I'm supposed to be here. Are you? And he's still just mean mugging me. Just big time mean mugging me. And he's standing right at the corner of where they're building these bathrooms. And I start to kind of walk over towards him. I'm probably about 25, maybe 30 yards from where he was standing at this point at the back of the house. And I start to walk over there. And I don't know what Johnny thought he was going to do to this mountain of a man when I got over there, but that ego guy was out there. So I was just like, you're not talking to me like that. And he never said a word. He just looked at me. So I started over there cautiously. I didn't like jog over and say, hey buddy, let's scrap. I still had a little common sense left. But as I get there and I said, hey, you got an issue with me, dude? What's your deal? What's your problem? You want me to come over there? And he still doesn't say anything, but he looks at me and he gives me that kind of look. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That look where they kind of like look at you
you're
like,
no threat.
Yeah, you're like, seriously? Like, you're so beneath me. And then just kind of scuffed and turned and walked behind the bathrooms where I couldn't see him. Now, ego would have walked on over to the bathrooms, but common sense popped up and said, hey, he's leaving now, so you should leave too. Don't press this anymore because he's going to pound you like a nail. So I said, okay, yeah, I'm getting out of here. So I turned to walk in, and then I realized something. The building that he stepped behind was just the framework. There was no walls. So when he stepped behind the building, I should still be able to see him.
So it was just like a pole, like
2x4 framework. That was it. It was just like a box, like a bathroom with men and women on each end, and like a rectangular building there. And all it was the foundation and 2x4 framework. That was it. There was no walls there at all. So when he stepped behind that building, I should have still been able to see him.
Wow.
But I didn't. It's like he stepped behind. And at first when he did it, and it's dark. So I'm like, well, he stepped behind the building. I can't see him anymore. But no, the building he stepped behind, I still should have been able to see him. So instead of running over there and seeing what I could see, I went further closer to the back door and screamed, "Cameras, backyard, now!" And so everybody comes out with cameras, and we're all like, just like an infantry converging on this one point and taking snapshots and taking recordings and everything. And I told the team what had happened and everything, and everybody was just like, okay, well, that's pretty much par for course tonight from what we've been, stuff's been going on. And, later on, whenever, that was back when we didn't have digital cameras, too. Mm-hmm. We had 35, I think we did have some digital cameras, but one of the cameras we had was a 35 millimeter, and we went back and looked at them after development, and there was a white mist at the corner of that bathroom where that wall should have been that we caught on one of the pictures when everyone come out and started taking a lot of pictures. So I thought that was always kind of funny. Johnny wanting to fight the big mountain of a man entity. So
yeah,
but and it turned out, hey, there should have been. I should be able to still see him. He's not going away because there's no wall there. So
if he had been real, there lies little Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny would have been
little Johnny.
Yeah,
little.
Maybe they would have put a memorial up for me there. Killed by a mountain of a man hunter. That's why I always say, fear the living, not the dead.
Exactly.
Because the living's a heck of a lot more dangerous than the dead will ever be. That's a fact.
Well, you got to be very careful when you're dealing with spirits.
That's right. And you know what other kind of spirits you have to be careful when you're dealing with?
What kind of spirits?
The kind of spirits that you can get at Lions Pride number 9, the station on Citizens Parkway. It's 3000 Citizens Parkway.
Are they sponsoring the show or something?
They are sponsoring the show tonight. So you guys go check it out. It's the old Captain's Corner. It's called Lions Pride number 9. They're open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Go check them out, 3000 Citizens Parkway. If you need some gas, go to there and get you some gas. If you need some bread, go there and get you some bread. If you need a cold drink, go there and get you some drinks. If you want to throw a party and you need some spirit, some adult drinkage, go there, because right next door is Lions Pride package store. So go there and check them out. Definitely patronize them. They're sponsoring the show tonight. We love them so much over there. We're looking forward to doing business with them and going there as much as possible. I partook of some spirits last time I was there, and in the store they have some wonderful cigars. And if you're a cigar guy or girl, go and definitely check them out. They've got some pretty awesome cigars there, some high price cigars and some cheap cigars. So whatever you want to do. And I want you to do me another favor too. When you go there, I want you to let them know that you heard about them on CAPI Real Paranormal on Kicks Country 101.5. If you do that, they're going to throw you a discount. So let them know that John and Johnny told you to come and check them out.
Oh yeah, great people over there.
Yes, we enjoyed talking with them and getting to know them. And
so, hearing your stories makes me think of the most scared I've ever been on an investigation.
I know where this is going.
I think I have an idea.
Yeah.
Most of y'all of the team have heard this story, but,
I didn't hear about it. I saw it.
Oh, well, that's true. We were doing an investigation, and Johnny called me down to the basement of this person's house, and we all, all the clients and everyone went downstairs, and I had gone into one of the bedrooms and started doing some K2 work where we're checking for electromagnetic fields and trying to get some one-on-one communication. Well, Johnny calls me into the sitting room where he is, and the clients are all sitting around, and they're doing a flashlight study, and the flashlight's, coming on and stuff like that. So I go and I sit down in the doorway of the room I was just in. Well, everyone's concentrating on this flashlight, waiting for it to turn off and come back on command like it was doing. And all of a sudden I feel this hot breath on the back of my neck. And I hear this rumbling right behind my ear. And I kind of turn my head, and all I see is blackness and then these white teeth behind my head. And Johnny can attest that when I get down on the ground, I'm a big boy, so it's kind of hard for me to get back up. But I do believe I probably.
Oh, you had no problem getting up that night.
Oh no,
none whatsoever.
I'm sure it was funny to watch, though. But
I had saw this whole thing unfold as it was happening. I was on a couch with the mother of the family, and in front of us was one of the children and the father. And then to our immediate left of the couch that I was on was that doorway that John was sitting in whenever the demon fangs started breathing down his neck and scared him so bad. I had watched this unfold. Earlier, I had seen that dog go over there. And so whenever John turned and looked and reacted the way he did, I saw it and knew exactly what was going on. But I couldn't warn him because I was no longer on the couch at that point. At that point, I was in the floor between the couch and the husband, rolling, laughing hysterically at John's dismay.
Yes. Behind me,
and it took him a good 15 seconds to figure out what was going on. I mean, he was like, okay, we just found the demon and he's right here on my back.
It was a black lab.
I mean, pitch black.
Black.
Yeah. And all you could see was the red gums and white shiny teeth inches from your face.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was.
And this was not a ferocious animal either.
No.
This was a very, very docile, very gentle dog. I think John scared that dog more than the dog scared John.
I agree. Beautiful, beautiful hound. Beautiful animal.
Beautiful, yes. But he was hellhound that night.
Oh, yeah. It scared me absolutely to death. And that's the thing is, I tell people that story and people are like, oh, that's hilarious. But there's a reason I tell that story is because a lot of times, even simple things like a dog or something, an animal or something like that could be the source of, what's scaring you.
Right.
And, I would be much more scared of a ferocious dog than I would a paranormal entity.
Absolutely.
A ghost, a human spirit. I mean, because, the worst thing that a spirit's going to do is scratch you or throw something at you. But,
all right. Especially if you ask them to.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was your own fault, Johnny.
That's right.
But a dog will eat your face, that kind of thing.
Right.
So that puppy would not have harmed a
I don't even think he knew
flea.
he could bite.
No, I don't think it tried to hide. I think I was so concentrating on that flashlight.
Right. We were doing flashlight study.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was kind of focused in that one little thing. And then all of a sudden, Satan's hound come and jumped on John's shoulder and said, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
And like I said, it did not take John more than a couple of seconds to get off that floor. He was up like
I was scrambling like a turtle on its back. I was. I think I about put a hole in their wall with my head because I slipped because I fell forward.
Right.
Trying to pull myself up.
And we had a lot of fun. You know what that brings up? Having fun with this. I've had so many people tell me, oh, if you're going to investigate the paranormal, you have to be super serious. You have to be just solemn and collected and act like you're at a funeral or church service or, and just be that humdrum kind of thing and respect if there wasn't laughter in this, I wouldn't do it. 100%. I love to laugh and I love to make people laugh.
Oh yeah.
And there's no way I would want to do this if there wasn't that fun factor there to outweigh that fear factor, because we have so much fun doing this. We do get serious when the time calls for it, and when we're trying to collect the evidence or help someone or something like that. There is a serious part of it, but it's also, I hope we always keep that laughter in there and that fun part of it too, because who would want to do this if you didn't?
Exactly.
Who would want to be called a devil worshiper if you wouldn't know anything about it? So
you definitely, when we're on the job, we're definitely on the job. We don't, like you said, we take what we do very seriously, but
right,
it can get monotonous sometimes, and you do have to break that monotony sometimes. And what better way to do it when you're around people that are good people than to cut up a little bit.
It puts some of them at ease.
Puts a lot of them at ease because they're also looking at us like that. These are scientists in my house. What are the, how should I act? And it kind of puts them at ease and makes them more, gives you a more human element from them,
Right. I agree 100%. The fact that we're able to be that both sides, it comes off onto a client as something that they can, okay, I can be at ease with this. I don't have to be so super serious about this. This is not all gloom and doom. There's something to this. And then especially when the entity does something funny, that's whenever, they can really open up about it. And it helps Beth out too then, because they're able to be more candid with her and more open.
Yes.
So that really helps out too. So I'm glad we have that funny mixture.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, we're very serious when it comes to, taking care of our clients and stuff like that. But, like everyone else said, it's, the client needs to laugh sometimes.
Yep.
They need to have, some kind of a release there to, because, if you let this, the paranormal get to you, it can really hurt you. It can really affect you in not physical, but a lot of times mental way. The fear.
Well, something I've also noticed too, that sometimes when we come in, and especially if it's a big investigation, we're going to use a lot of cameras and a lot of equipment. You've seen the client get kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah, they get a little
intimidated when you start pulling out all these different pieces of equipment, and they see these big cases coming in and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it also kind of helps. And we always make the joke, or at least I try to. And if I'm near the client, I'll say, "Don't worry, we're taking all this with us when we leave here next week."
Right.
And that just kind of they shocks them for a second, and they're like, "What? Next week?" And
Beth didn't say anything about overnight.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't say anything about overnight. But then they kind of get, okay, these, I'm safe. These guys are going to be okay, because they realize that we're human too. We have a human factor just like they do.
We had a client once who was very antsy about us coming, and we had a lot of rules of what we could do and not do there at their house and stuff. And then once we got there, got the cameras up, got everything going, the client was like, "Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this." I mean, they were so fascinated with it, and it really helped for us to be, even though we were obeying the rules, we were still CAPI and having fun doing it. And they had a blast.
Yes. And another thing that's helped us out a lot in that avenue is technology.
Oh yeah,
has been a big tool on setting people easy, because back in the day we had to run wires through the houses to connect cameras to the DVR, and we had to have these big recorders and the tape recorders and stuff like that. Yeah, and had all that big stuff. And now
VHS.
Most everything we use is handheld. We do still have cameras that we have to plug in and wire up, but they're not connected to the system. They're wireless. So it's just that area that has something there, and so I think that helps a lot, is the simplicity that technology has taken our equipment has made that a lot better too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And our wireless stuff, as I call it.
And also our equipment manager, who labels everything, and we know exactly where everything goes.
Right.
What is attached to what.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, Tom.
I might be a tad OCD.
Just a little OCD.
I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'm sorry, Tom. Just so you know.
He's not only apologizing for something in the past, he's apologizing for something he's going to do later too.
Yeah. Eventually I'm going to screw something up, and I'm sorry, Tom.
I'm so glad we're a family.
Oh yeah.
We'd be in trouble if we weren't. I think Tom would have buried most of us by now if we weren't. Definitely.
Especially when we go over it.
That was an agreement laugh. You expect him to say something like, "Oh no, guys, of course not."
No, we don't. We know Tom.
He was like, "Yeah, I've thought about that."
We know
what
Tom
were you
way too
thinking?
well. Oh man, we know Tom way too well.
Way.
He would he shoots straight and be like, "Yeah, I got a place for you."
Not that I've planned it out or anything.
No, not that I actually got a depth finder and went out into the middle of the lake.
Not that I've ran that scenario a few times.
Oh, of course not. We're here to find evidence about ghosts, not create.
Not create them. That's right.
Not
We tell our
create
people
ghosts.
that all the
Exactly.
time. Especially when we're going in somewhere that's like abandoned or something like that, and we're there, and we'll tell one of the first things I say is, guys, our idea here is to prove the existence of a spirit, not to create one.
Not to become one.
Exactly.
That's right. Because that is a scare for us. We do have that danger factor there. That idea that you may walk into the hole in the floor on the third floor of a building. Yeah, like I almost did.
That's a good idea, Johnny. I don't know what that was.
I don't either.
What's that?
No,
Something made a noise.
a ding.
Ding. Wasn't us.
Okay.
Wasn't us.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Well, hopefully
I thought maybe I did something wrong.
that was the.
Okay.
That's the show has been canceled.
Anything that goes wrong is Johnny. So anything that goes wrong, just everyone say, Johnny.
Johnny.
It was me. Yeah, and that's the whole thing that we were talking about last time about how putting certain people in certain places, in certain positions. It's like Polar Bear said last show. We don't just assign someone to something and say, okay, that's your job. You do it. Don't let anybody else touch it. It's a group effort, and we all help out to do what we need to do, but we do have those certain people in place. Not so John, as the manager, can have someone to go yell at when something goes wrong, but so
that's Tom.
That's Tom's job. We have them in that position because that's what they've proven they can do, right? They have a talent in that field. Like, there's nobody on the team that I wouldn't allow to run video. Mm-hmm. I would trust everyone on the team to run video.
Because we've been trained.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%, no problem. But if I had to pick one person to run video, it's going to be Tom every time, hands down, because the man knows videology, and he does it like a pro.
Thank you.
I wouldn't want. I can't say that about all positions, because I can't sit here and say that there's no one on the team that I wouldn't trust to talk to a client, because we've been bitten before, with that. And another thing, not just past members that have, messed stuff up, by saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or like that. But dear Lord, if Johnny ever had to talk to a client, we would never have another investigation.
Ooh.
I just don't have that coup that she has, that ability to relate to human beings.
She has a presence. Beth has a presence about her.
Yeah, Beth still loves people.
I do. I love what I do. I love talking to the clients.
Yeah, and I stopped liking people a long time ago.
Well, they stopped liking you too.
Well, that happened first. But yeah. But Beth is awesome at it, and that's why she's in that position.
Thank you.
She's amazing at what she does, and thank God we've got her, because that's what CAPI is, what it is today, because of the people and the positions that they're in, and how awesomely they kick butt. Can I say butt?
Well, the truth is, we got a really good leader, so that helps.
Why, thank you.
We've got a good teacher.
Yep.
We got a good teacher and a good listener and a good leader, so that helps a whole lot.
Y'all keep saying
that's what
that
makes a good team.
Y'all keep saying that stuff. One of these days, you've got to introduce me to this guy. Seriously, I've got to meet him. He sounds awesome. He really does.
He is.
Well, he was
He's
just here a
pretty
few
cool.
minutes ago.
Say what?
He was just here a few minutes ago.
I always miss him by just a second. I always miss him.
He's like Snuffleupagus on Sesame Street.
He doesn't really exist. It's all in
That's
your
right.
head, Big Bird.
It's only a big bird's mind, right?
That's right.
Does that make me
generation
Big Bird? Does that make me Big Bird?
That does. It makes you Big
I think
Bird.
so. I think you're
Tom is
Sounds
definitely the
like
grouch. Tom is the grouch.
I like it.
I'm the Cookie Monster.
You're a
Yes,
cookie
that's
Beth
monster.
is definitely the Cookie Monster, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm Bert and Ernie. I'm both.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I like that one.
Johnny, when I was doing some research on Selma,
Yeah.
I learned about an Orion Williamson who just vanished with the loud
Disappeared.
boom and flash of light.
Yep.
Well, have you know any? You have any knowledge on that one? Any?
I know the story. I like everybody else. I don't have an explanation.
I've never heard the story,
Right.
Johnny.
Yeah, he just completely vanished in front of people. He didn't do
Right,
it like
in front of his children, and yeah.
Yeah, he didn't say I'm going
That's
out to
what
the
we read.
woodshed and then never came home. You know, he didn't meet the girl down the street in the Mercantile and head off to Los Angeles. He was like in
Right,
front
right.
of people and literally just vanished.
Yeah,
He
That
fell
is
through a
wild.
hole in the
Wow.
matrix.
Yeah.
a loud bang and a loud bang and a flash and gone.
And gone. And it wasn't lightning either. There's been speculations that it was lightning and it just
Atomized him.
just completely obliterated him. But it was not a storm. It was a clear day and there was no and there wasn't a heat lightning or anything like that.
And
he just-
out of the clear sky.
exactly. He just
I
went
guess
away.
it was his time to go.
Yeah, I guess it was his time to go
Yeah, I mean this
in a spectacular way.
in a spectacular way.
I mean,
too.
if you're going to go out,
yeah,
I
hey,
mean, that's one heck of a way to go.
you got to
out.
go out like that. That's a pretty cool way, and because that was like a very long time ago, and,
And
we're still talking about it. So
You're still talking
Yeah,
about
it was
Yeah.
1854.
Couple hundred,
Right.
200
If you
years
still-
ago, yeah.
yeah, if you want to be remembered, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, go out
That is the way
flash
to
and a
do it.
bang, and everybody will remember you. Right, exactly.
No doubt, no doubt. That is the perfect way to go out.
We could be so lucky.
Poof.
Right. I won't be lucky like that. I don't think I'm going to go out
Yeah.
like that. I think I'm going to go out slowly and painfully.
No.
I don't think anybody wants to talk about death,
Well, we're
No, I don't.
but we're
I don't.
paranormal
care
investigators, so we
to.
have to.
Well,
No, seriously
I
though,
wanna
all
talk
joking
about-
aside, that was really, really weird. And, there's been a lot of instances where people have appeared just out of the blue. From the Chicago
Right.
man that was hit by the taxi, just suddenly appeared in the middle of the road and was killed by a taxi. And he was wearing 1800 period clothing, and that would be me if I got to time travel. That one time I got to time travel,
what a
I'd materialize right in front of a bus. That would be me.
Or train.
Yeah.
or, yeah.
Yeah. If there's ever time travel,
Exactly.
they're going to say, okay, you can go to time travel if you want to. If you pay this amount of money, you can time travel anywhere you want to go. But you can only do it once. You can never ever do it but one time.
it's a one-way trip.
All these people would be wanting to go to Gettysburg or Virginia during the Revolution or I don't know, the speech, the Emancipation Proclamation speech or something. Johnny would, no matter where I went, even if buses have not been invented yet, they would materialize a bus in front of me. So I'd say I want to go back to the Ice Age. It's really a hot day. I want to go back to the Ice Age. I would go to the Ice Age. I promise you there would be a Greyhound at the Ice Age. Boom.
Bye, Johnny.
That's my luck.
Punch that ticket, Johnny.
Somebody else would say,
I wanted
okay.
to go to the Garden of Eden,
Yeah, that would be good.
screaming, "Don't eat the fruit! Don't eat the fruit!"
Stay away from the apple.
People always say that. They always say that she shouldn't have ate the I think it was a fig. I don't think it was an apple. There's nothing that says it was an apple. We just came up with that. But I think it was a fig just because of the period.
We just came up with that, right?
Right.
Right,
But
right.
I think, it would have been, if you really think about it, it wouldn't have been a great thing if she didn't eat it. I think it was pre-planned. I think he knew what he was doing.
Right, I agree.
Really
God
did.
knows all. So
Yep. I think it would have been a bad thing. I think the only people on earth would have ever been Adam and Eve. That was it. There would be nobody else
maybe
if she hadn't eaten that.
Well, that's true.
may have been, may have lived forever. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, never mind.
Never mind. Never mind.
Well-
I just love the avenues we go down.
Well, I mean,
We go down some
Freeways,
crazy
brother,
avenues.
8 lanes, both directions, freeway.
That's right. That's right.
we met a man today, and strangely, you start talking about time travel. You know, we've seen a lot of very historic locations here in Selma.
Right. Right. Beautiful. Beautiful
And
area.
we met a man today who he was dropping off some furniture from his father.
Yes.
And his father was very active in the civil rights movement here in
Correct.
Selma.
Correct.
You know, I've always...
And we didn't get his permission, so we're not going to...
I'm not going to say his
Yeah,
name.
we're not going to say the name, but...
No, of course not. But...
everyone would know him, though. If we
yes,
said his name.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But, you know, if I were to go back in time, I think I would want to walk down the Edmund Pettus Bridge with the civil rights movement on
That would
Bloody
be
Sunday.
interesting.
That would be cool. But I
mean-
guarantee you, if I did that, yes, there would be a Greyhound bus. And I would get to see 4 seconds of that fateful day. 4 seconds I would get to see.
And then a big
bus that was coming to
and then a
pick
big-
people up to get them out of there.
Yeah.
It's
the
gone.
last thing you see is a big silver Greyhound emblem.
That would be it. That would be it.
That'd be it.
What's the last thing that went through Johnny's mind? A Greyhound emblem.
Greyhound. Exactly.
That would be my luck. Absolutely. But I do
Well, what
agree with
do
that.
you
That would be
think-
cool to be there. Absolutely, it would.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What do you think would be the reason that Selma is such a hotbed for paranormal activity?
Do you know what? I've been asked that question so many times. I don't know. There's nothing that sets Selma off other than we have a major water source, but a lot of towns have that. So, you know, and water source would be significant for the energy, which needs to be. Wetumpka, Alabama was created from an impact of a crater, or it was a crater created from
A meteorite.
a meteorite that hit. Yes, and so there's all kinds of energy there. But there's nothing that really would set some. I just think that it was because it was such a historic place. A lot of stuff happened in Selma that a lot of people, you know, there was a major battle fought here. Selma was the munitions
Right.
hub for the Civil War, for the Confederacy.
Yeah, that was a question I wanted to ask you since we mentioned the topic about the Civil War. Is there a correlation? Have you ever found any evidence of there being more activity around areas where things like Civil War battles have taken place, or you know, near places like that? Have you ever seen that or seen any data on that? If that's something that's common, you know, that you tend to get more activity in those areas.
Yeah, and I've gotten that question a lot too, and I've thought about that a lot over the years. You know, is there more trauma? Is there more entities or paranormal activity in an area that saw traumatic events, or, you know, be it war or murder or whatever the case may be? If there was more something that happened here more than it happened somewhere else, like why is New Orleans more haunted than Savannah, you know, or is it, you know? And I don't think that, what is the number one thing that we look at when we're going to a place? What is the number one thing that we want to know that is there?
The history of the place, who all's been there.
Yeah, the history, and that kind of goes into safety a little more than, but the one thing that we want to know most about is how much energy is there.
Well, true. Yeah,
and
true.
we want to feed that. And we'll do that with ourselves. We'll do that with our equipment. We've even had devices that fed energy, you know, in the
Right.
past. Yeah, we had the
EMF cannon.
Yeah, the EMF cannon and the Jacob's ladder.
Yeah.
You know, we've had all this stuff and to feed that energy. And so I'm not, yes, that area, because it had that traumatic event, you know, or that episode in time that stood out.
That's the release
but
of
I don't
energy,
think it's
too.
because of that event. I think it's because of, like you just said, the release of that energy because of that event has done it.
Right.
So it's kind of like, yes, it's there more so here because of this event that happened, but it's not the event that happened. It's the cause and effect of that event because it's that energy displacement that took place in that area, and that energy is going to be fed on, you know, regardless of what happens to it in the future, you know.
Speaking about energy, after doing a little research, have you ever heard the theory about the bedrock and the water in that area and it running past a lot of iron and things like that, of it collecting and storing energy like a negative in that area, and it just kind of plays out over time? Have you ever heard that theory or anything on that subject?
Yes. And there's not just in Selma, but a lot of places that have that mineral buildup or that certain situation where you have the mineral as opposed to the water and the activity, the population. How many people are there that's going to affect that, in some way?
Well, that's something that Beth had came across in research, and it fascinated me. I'd never thought of it like that. So I wondered what your view on it was.
Yeah. So I think it's the amount of energy, being it being natural or traumatic event, that does play into that and gives that area more possibility, if you will.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of stuff that happened. So when you do go to places that has a lot of history, then look at that history, whether it be traumatic or significant, as far as has a future significance to it, or it be tragic, and so that's you're going to get more so on that than you will say a place that doesn't have that event or that natural setting.
Exactly. Yeah, that was something I really wanted to ask you about that. What your thoughts were on that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, guys, I think it's coming to the point of the end of the show. I always really dislike this point of the show. I don't like this part of the show because I just want to keep going. I just want to keep talking. I think we just should do like an entire season all in one day.
You think so?
I think so. Let's just do, John, what do you think? Should we just do an entire season all in one day so we don't have to stop? We have to stop talking now. I'm not ready to stop.
That might be a good idea.
As long as Boss Man will let us.
Our timer is getting
I have
to that
one
spot.
more question, though.
Okay, go ahead, and we'll just ask your question, and if we take too long and if it's not a good question, we'll just cut it out. How about that?
I hear you.
I would never cut you out, Beth.
You've told us how you feel about cemeteries, and
yes.
I mean we have investigated, cemeteries.
Yes.
And have you investigated the Live Oak Cemetery?
I have, and the old and the new.
And
no evidence.
No evidence.
None.
Okay.
It certainly looks the part.
It really does.
It certainly looks the part.
It really, really does. Especially the old Live Oak, because it's just so all the Spanish moss and the different, the older statues and
the pictures are beautiful.
We can't wait to tour that. That's something Beth and I are definitely going to.
Yeah,
go
that
see.
angel that I sent you guys is the most took picture.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, in Selma, it's the most took picture. More people have taken pictures of that spot than anywhere else.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
She is so beautiful. I could just, that day I took that picture to send to you guys, I just sat there for a long time and just was in awe because it's beautiful.
Oh,
I'm also in awe about how professional and courteous and convenient that Lions Pride is at 3000 Citizens Parkway.
Which Lions Pride is that, Johnny?
That's number 9.
Number 9?
Number 9. Yeah. They're open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. They have everything from gas to Coca-Cola to Pepsi to candy bars, cigars, vapes, and liquor. What else do you need for a party?
They have ice, too.
They do have ice.
And propane.
Yes.
If you're going to grill.
Yep. Don't take our word for it.
It's literally a one-stop.
Absolutely it is. But don't take our word for it. Do never believe anything you hear come from John or Johnny because we're just not trustworthy.
No, you got to experience it for yourself.
You got to go figure it out for yourself. Go to Lions Pride, number 9, 3000 Citizens Parkway. I want you to tell them that you heard about it on the CAPI Real Paranormal. Tell them John and Johnny sent you. And, I think it's supposed to be Johnny and John, but I don't like that. Johnny John doesn't sound as good as John and Johnny. Don't you agree?
Johnny.
John and Johnny. I like that better. We're giving you first billing.
Oh, is that it?
Because you're my hero.
Okay.
I can't be
Johnny.
a hero, baby.
Okay, Johnny, you're...
Oh, wait, wrong for Chandra.
Okay, Johnny, you're fired, and John, you're the boss.
I have absolutely no problem with that.
Oh, don't cut.
I've already tried to get Beth and John to take my job.
That's right.
I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. I have tried to get them. The first time I had to fire somebody on this latest team, I begged them to take my job. Begged them, and they would not do it.
Do this.
He did.
Yes, he did.
But yeah, we want to thank Lions Pride for sponsoring tonight's show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
And we're open to sponsors. Anybody wants to sponsor the show, just give us a holler here at the station. And Paul and them will put you in touch with the either myself or John, and we will get you set up. We are definitely open to that. That's what we do every Monday is we pound pavement to sponsor the show, get sponsors for the show, and it's been very, very, very well received so far.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really excited about that. So we can keep bringing you CAPI Real Paranormal here on Kicks Country 105 FM. And we want to thank Beth and Tom for joining us tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here again.
Our pleasure.
Always.
And we would like to, John and I would like to extend a invitation for you guys to be here. I'm going to go ahead and say it every show.
Oh, definitely.
I'm just going to.
We'll definitely make every one we can do. We'll definitely
We'll try
be here.
our best.
And the next show,
be here.
I really think you guys should be in studio.
Oh,
We'll
Just
see if we
saying.
cannot make that happen. We will try and make that happen.
We will get together this week and figure that out. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
We love you guys. And we love you guys for listening in, and please continue to do so every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Can't wait to see you next week. We got even more stories, even more educational facts about the paranormal. We will see you guys next Saturday night at 7 p.m. here on Kicks Country 101.5. I want you guys to do me a huge favor sometime this week. I don't care if it's a friend, family member, or someone you meet on the street. Make at least one person smile, because that's exactly what we need the most of. Take care, God bless, and have a
CAPI week.
good night.
This has been CAPI, the Real Paranormal Podcast, a presentation of Central Alabama Paranormal Investigations. Please tune in again for the next episode and download any previous episodes wherever you get your favorite podcast.